Horses have been connected with Montreal since the city was founded. In fact, the city's first public transit consisted of a horse-drawn tram in 1861. At one point, more than 80 calèches roamed the city's downtown streets, but now only about 24 of those remain. While they are popular with tourists, there has been a growing backlash from those who say calèche horses are poorly treated. Quite often, examples of poor treatment are posted on social media, like this one of a calèche horse that collapsed. Now, Mayor Valérie Plante's administration is working to phase out the industry. But what happens to those horses if calèches are banned? CityLife reporter Giordano Cescuti investigates the question.
Rescue organizations like A Horsetail in Hudson have welcomed horses retired from the calèche industry. The nonprofit currently cares for 12 horses, but President Michael Grenier says they're almost at capacity. He estimates that it would cost between $15,000 and $20,000 to make room for just 5 more horses.
It's just our physical limitation, right? So if we would need to be able to take in more, it would just need the timing of building what we needed to go beyond the additional 5. The
3 former calèche horses the organization cares for have come from Lucky Luke stables in Griffintown. Owner Luc Desparois cares for 25 horses. And the thought of losing them if the industry shuts down isn't something he can stomach.
I wouldn't be able to feed them no more, that's for sure. I don't know what I would do, but I'm not there yet, and I'm not ready to go there either.
Desparois has worked in the calèche industry for 32 years. He says each of his horses has become part of his family.
They're like my kids, you know, maybe not the same, they don't have the same needs as a kid, but it's the same thing, you know. They're sick, I'm there, I can spend all night with them, taking care of them.
The health of the horses is also of concern to animal welfare advocates. The SPCA hopes that it will have the cooperation of calèche owners like Desparois should the industry end.
The hope, I would imagine, would be that the owners of the horses, because they will no longer be working here, would act in good faith and work with the city and the Montreal SPCA and other rescues in placing the horses.
In the past, the SPCA has worked with Galahad Refuge in placing calèche horses. Galahad has a network of more than 100 host homes across Quebec that provide shelter. Galahad says it would have no issues placing a number of horses at a moment's notice. That's welcome news to city officials.
Horses sometimes can be sold off for rather cheaply, surprisingly, to make horse meat. And if we're going to, and we are going to say no to the calèche industry in the future, we have to make sure that the horses then are maintained, because it's one of the reasons we're looking at this is because of animal cruelty.
The city's plan to phase out the industry would likely mean the end of horses near the downtown core. In 2017, the decrepit Griffintown Horse Palace was torn down after 155 years. They hope to rebuild, but say they've lost the support of the Sud-Ouest Borough and City.
It is frustrating because we've been working with the arrondissement and the Ville de Montréal, City of Montreal, for a number of years. Because just keeping the old stable secured, we've invested some money, and because we thought it would be a lot quicker with the City of Montreal to come to an arrangement, an agreement as to the funding.
The proposed new stables would be home to at least 4 horses and would host numerous events like zoo therapy. But the city doesn't think the new horse palace could survive without the funds generated from the calèche industry.
With regards to the horse palace, we'll see how that file evolves. But the clear indication is that we're getting rid of the calèche industry. So for its survival, it can't depend on this industry in Montreal, unfortunately.
Girard can see the area where the stables once stood from his office, and he's hoping the city will soon pony up its third of the $450,000 project.
We haven't thrown the towel. We're still hoping, because we're still in discussion with the current administration. So we have still some hope that they will come to the table and support the foundation and the reconstruction of the stable.
Seeing horses remain in the city would be a welcome sight to calèche drivers like Pierre Lausier, who has worked closely with his horse Knockout for 12 years.
I spend more time with this guy than even my own son. So there's obviously a big bond between us two, that's for sure.
Lausier says that no matter where Knockout ends up, he won't be too far behind, just like he's always been.
The more care that he would get, the better, I guess. I surely would go and see him. If he was at any refuge or any owner, I would try to keep track, that's for sure.
As the city works to phase out permits and gradually put an end to the calèche industry, organizations like A Horsetail are hoping additional funding will allow them to deal with the future influx of horses. Giordano Cescuti, CityLife,
Griffintown.
Joining me now to talk about horses on the streets of Montreal is Pierre Lausier. He is a Colèche driver. Mirella Colalilo is a member of the Anti-Colèche Defense Coalition, and Ethan Cox is an editor at Ricochet Media. Thank you all for being here. Ethan, is there value to having horses on the streets of Montreal?
I think it's something that